We have new information this morning following reports this week that inflationary prices may be peaking. The Fed vice chair now saying she doesn't know if that's true. Our friend Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill, is joining us right now. Niall, happy Friday. This statement of not knowing whether we are near its peak, how much of that is going to impact America's confidence in the Fed, especially following Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen saying that she admitted she was wrong about how bad inflation would be?
Well, as with any element of life, trust is a fragile thing, Adrian, and it has been eroded, I think, in the Fed over the last year or so, because there were initial projections that inflation was going to be temporary or transitory, as Jerome Powell famously said. Then they retired that word and said, sorry, it's not actually going to be transitory after all, and have had to take this rather dramatic action. Even with all that, we have the Vice Chair, Lael Brainard, talking about the fact that there is still a lot more work to do, in her view, before inflation does get under control.
Well, and in all fairness, this is data, and data is projections. We don't necessarily know that we have reached the peak. So by saying I don't know, it's kind of I don't know that it's a cop-out. I don't know that it's something that you can really take much stock in. But on Thursday, we actually reported that President Biden admitted there was not really any short-term solution to fixing the high prices right now. So that also cannot help this administration in terms of saying, you know, we have a strong economy, but right now can't do nothing about it.
That's right. And exactly in those terms, I think, Adrian, you know, basically presidents and politicians are elected to solve problems. That's the job. Now, inflation is a particularly difficult problem. Some of the levers to treat it are controlled by the Fed rather than the White House. But it is clearly the most pressing problem facing Americans. It is clearly the biggest political problem weighing down President Biden. And so statements effectively saying, yeah, there's not much I can do about that, don't exactly inspire confidence or bolster any sense of leadership ability.
There are other people talking about this, obviously, a lot of economists and analysts, and now J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon is weighing in, a warning of a rough economy. This is his quote: "That hurricane, as he calls it, is right out there down the road coming our way. If we don't know if it's a minor one or Superstorm Sandy, either way, you better brace yourself." I mean, Jamie Dimon has been around for quite some time, and he's ridden through a number of different storms himself. So how much weight does his word carry, especially right now in inflationary times?
I think his word does carry weight for exactly the reasons that you said. He's been around a long time. He's a very sober-minded individual. He's not given to hyperbole. And his argument that there could be tougher times ahead seems to be reflected in the opinion polls, where when people are asked if the country is on the right or wrong track wins about 70 to 20%. I feel we're not really bringing you a lot of happy news this morning, Adrian, but it is what it is. The facts aren't cooperating.
It's been pretty lousy. But it's interesting. The Fed vice chair did respond to Dimon's predictions, saying there's a lot of uncertainty, and also bringing up things that Treasury Secretary Yellen put into context. The war in Ukraine, China's lockdowns again. Obviously, these are things that the American people are watching play out on television and on their phones every single morning. But is there a responsibility from the Fed to say, listen, even in light of these unprecedented times, here's something that we can give you as a not a silver lining, but just as a marker of what can be done during such perilous times?
Well, I think there is a general craving for signs of hope. Now, whether it's the Fed's responsibility or the White House's, that's a different question. The Fed tends to be very concerned with, I think it's called the dismal science of economics sometimes, which speaks to its lack of glamour or inspiration. But there is a need for that in the political culture generally, and it's difficult to find right now. President Biden and people close to him have tried to make the argument about the brighter spots in the economy, things like job creation, and those do exist. It's just that those aren't really breaking through to a public that is very discontented because of other matters.
Discontented partly because when you go to the store, It's kind of crazy how much more money you're spending. I know we're out of time. I hear you, producers. I really do. And with all due respect, really quickly, is President Biden endeavoring to kind of be more public, more transparent? He's out there, 2 op-eds this week, which I've never heard a sitting president do. And then with the address in prime time, do you think he's being kind of the father in chief right now?
Yes, and I think he's trying to seize the narrative back. I think basically the situation is one in which the big story is things that are going wrong. He has only revealed sort of small stories that haven't broken through. It's an attempt to try to break through this negativity. That's as short an answer as I can give you.
Okay. Short and sweet with Niall Stanage. Always appreciate you. Thank you so much, Niall.
Have a nice weekend.
You too. Enjoy it. Really. YOLO. You only live once. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.